I really thank each one of you for making time and honoring our invitation to be here with us today. To kickstart our initial workshop, I would kindly request our chairman, or rather the member of board of GDC, Dr. Chari, to kindly deliver his initial remarks. Thank you.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a wonderful start for the day, and we generally say that in daily operations, people generally do not appreciate four-letter words. But suddenly the world is changing, and we are beginning to like some four-letter words. If you look at the screen, there are 4 letters. Thank you. Payment successful. I think a time is going to come when the whole world is going to like these 4 words. Thank you, payment successful. Ever since we moved, the whole world moved from barter economy to a medium of exchange. Something or the other has become a medium of exchange. So every country in the world has undergone so many experiences of using medium of exchange. My friends here from Uganda and Africa will appreciate. I had the opportunity to work with the United Nations of all the places in South Sudan. So I visited Uganda, I stayed in South Sudan, Juba for 4 years. So anyone who was working in South Sudan before it became an independent country in 2006, after this they signed the agreement, Comprehensive Peace Treaty, would realize the importance of these 4 words. Thank you, payment successful. United Nations could never credit our accounts with payment. But of course, we could live happily there because of the barter economy. So we would get our food against something or the other. We would get rice and other things from Uganda, sugar from Uganda, and we could live for 6-7 months without even touching the green bill, they say, green document, or without even touching a currency. But of course, at that time there was no electricity, no newspaper, no television, no buildings. We were all living in a tent, no bank. So there was no need for cash. But I am sure things have changed not only in Uganda but also in South Sudan now. So more and more countries are now shifting over. From there we came out to this. But in the last almost 3 to 4 years, India has progressed to the extent of using digital currency, what we call the digital payment methodology, to such an extent that one can live in India for any number of days or years without even looking at the currency bill. That is the kind of progress that India has made as far as the digital use of digital platform and digital currency is concerned. But of course, the technicalities my friends from NCPL will explain. It is easier said than done. But once you have the framework and once you have the platform, so basically it's a connectivity between three people, three IDs: the payer, the payee, and the bank or a platform or whatever it is. So you have in your own mobile, you have your money. So from your mobile you pay money to XYZ, he gets paid, or the same thing is done backwards. You have to receive $100 from somebody, he pays you through bank, through your mobile. So these platforms, so within a few seconds, by the time we understand all these things, a few billion exchanges of currency payment has taken place in India. A few billion. That is the kind of activity, that is the kind of systems that are working. Especially this is very useful in countries which have not very good banking system. Of course, we have to improve our banking system, but even if you have a slightly lesser developed banking system, this works very well for individuals, this works very well for corporates, this works very well for countries, especially if you want to avoid cash transactions, which are essentially and very unfortunately, whether we like it or not, linked to various kinds of corruption. So if you want to really improve the economy, reduce corruption, reduce cash transfers, reduce the cash component in business, corporate exchanges as well as individual exchanges, I think the world will soon have to get into this kind of a system where digital mode of payment is becomes very important. And RIS, Research and Information System for Developing Countries, is an organization which was started way back in the 70s by the then Prime Minister Srimati Indira Gandhi. She took the lead, and one of our finest diplomats, Ambassador G. Parthasarathi, took the initiative and established a unit called Research and Information System for Developing Countries. Of course, the word developing countries has changed now. None of us are developing countries, we are emerging economies. And if you look at the parameters of emerging economy, you can even say that US, Japan, China and India are all emerging economies. So every economy is emerging. So we have what we call the Research and Information System, which essentially is an autonomous body under the Ministry of External Affairs of India, but which has a coordinating system between various ministries like the Science and Technology Ministry, the Commerce Ministry, the Finance Ministry, and all these ministries, the External Affairs Ministry. So all the secretaries of these ministries are ex officio member of our board. I am one of the member of the board. So we initially what we do is we actually is a platform. We don't do any business. We are not a commercial enterprise. We are not a commercial organization. But for the sake of getting together, for the sake of sustainability, for the sake of interaction between various stakeholders, not only in the country or region but the whole of the world, we work on a number of platforms, and Global Development Center is one such platform where we want to really engage with the rest of the world on all the innovative technologies that India has come up with. So we work on these innovative technologies. We work from the point of view of government or from the corporate world, whoever does it, any emerging economy, any emerging technology that comes up for the benefit of the people and for good governance, we try and transfer it to as many countries as possible. So that is the platform under which we are working, and GDC is the platform which essentially transforms this knowledge into practical applications and give it to the whole world. So these are all the operations that we do. So as I said, GDC has a very large mandate. RIS also has a very large mandate. We work on various issues pertaining to economy and also general multilateralism. So we look after all the trade and economic engagements and agreements between countries, bilateral and multilateral organizations and institutions, be it SARC, be it FIDC, be it so many other institutions. So I will invite all of you one of these days to visit India, make it a point, come and interact with us, share your experience and knowledge with India, and also try and learn the Indian knowledge systems, and then we can work together for the betterment of the globe. So with this, I think very soon we will all be using these 4-letter words. Thank you, payment successful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your very candid initial remarks. In moving forward, we, as our member of the Board of Governors, RIS, mentioned, the platform is to exchange experiences, and the next step is to do just that. We would be exchanging experiences. We would be having an exchange of experience from NPCI to the many African countries who, some of them already here, and some who would be joining us. So at this stage, it's my honor to really invite the team from NPCI, led by Mr. Savin, to come and deliver the presentation on NPCI offerings, really the essence of the workshop today. Thank you.
So thank you for that wonderful speech of yours, sir. As you said, thank you, payment successful. So just to give you an example, in India, to make payments, we use only the mobile phone. And going ahead right now, we coming to UAE, we'll only use this mobile phone to make payments to the UAE merchants also. So this is our vision. This is in simple words, I'm just putting in sir's vision, saying that thank you, payment successful. So starting the presentation, I would like to thank RIS for giving us this opportunity, for coming, like inviting all the stakeholders from all the African countries, and RIS GDC in particular, to bringing all the stakeholders and giving this opportunity a platform for us, NPCI International, to bring together the collaborative approach that we are going to bring in. Just to give you a short information, NPCI, that is the National Payment Corporation of India. So we were formed in 2008 under the guidance of Reserve Bank of India. So just to give you an example, we are an initiative by our central bank, that is the Reserve Bank of India, in association with the Indian Banking Association. So the Bankers Association, which is present in India, it's the Indian Banking Association who has helped out to create and formulate this company called NPCI, that is the National Payment Corporation of India. And we were regulated under the act called the Payment System Act 2007. So in 2008, we are formed as a non-profit organization, and where you can see here that we started off our company in 2008 with only 10 shareholders as an entity to the company, and from 2008 in this journey of 2022 right now, I stand in front of you to say that we are now a 66 member shareholder who are part of the NPCI journey. So in the screen, if you can see, we are regulated by the Reserve Bank of India, and the Indian Banking Association is a part of support system that NPCI regulates. Here you can see the 66 shareholders that we have. This includes all your private sector, largest private sector banks in India, the public sector banks, the PSPs who are part of the ecosystem, and also the foreign banks who actually come and invest their time along with us. So in this slide, you can actually understand that we are taking a collaborative approach where it's a win-win situation for all the stakeholders who are coming and being a part of NPCI. So going ahead, in 2008, we started with just as a small entity which was given an handover of handling an ATM and POS switch. So when I say ATM and POS switch, it was the early part of the whole ecosystem as a digital economy that we had to handle. But that small responsibility, I would say, given by the central bank has actually grown and embarked into a huge, beautiful journey that NPCI has actually overgrown with. So from 2008 till 2022, you can see this whole journey where n numerous of products that we have created, n numerous of journeys that we have created with every single product which we have right now. Just to showcase on this journey, I like to present to you one slide, one video, which gives you a whole overview of how NPCI was actually formed, how we started small, and at what position we are actually standing right now.
National Payments Corporation of India is an umbrella organization for all retail payments in India with the mission to touch every Indian with one or the other payment services. NPCI has ushered in a sea of change in the payments landscape in the country. Since inception, NPCI has achieved several milestones of innovation through product developments. National Financial Switch, enabling cardholders to transact at ATMs across the nation. Immediate payment service, enabling real-time round-the-clock fund transfers. Check truncation system, enabling faster clearance of checks through electronic truncation via image transfers. RuPay, the card scheme which offers a domestic, open-loop, multilateral system which allows banking and financial institutions to participate in electronic payments. National Automated Clearing House, enabling banks, financial institutions, corporate and government to facilitate high-volume electronic transactions which are repetitive and periodic in nature. Aadhaar Payment Bridge System, helping the government and government agencies in making the direct benefit transfer scheme a success. RuPay Ecom, to provide e-commerce transaction capabilities to domestic customers. Aadhaar-enabled payment system, enabling extended banking services through Aadhaar via micro ATMs. RuPay Platinum, an upgrade for debit customers offering several benefits including cashbacks and insurance. Star 99 Hash, a USSD-based mobile banking service for all mobile phones. RuPay International, enabled usage of the domestic scheme internationally at all Discover and Diners point of sale and ATM networks. Unified Payments Interface, a one-stop solution for interoperable digital payment needs. Bharat Interface for Money, a UPI-based mobile banking app for every Indian. National Electronic Toll Collection, enabling customers to pay tolls electronically without stopping at toll plazas. Launched RuPay with EMV. NFS, interoperable cash deposit services for banks, enabling their customers ease in depositing cash. RuPay Credit was built on the existing RuPay platform, and it enabled banks to provide value-added services in a cost-effective manner. The RuPay Contactless is built to digitize low-volume payments and offer one card for all payments, including travel by different metros and buses, toll, parking and smart cities, besides retail shopping and purchases. Bharat Bill Pay, enabling one-stop bill payments of all categories on digital and physical enabled channels. Bhim Aadhaar, enabling merchant payments through Aadhaar. Bharat QR, created by four payment networks to drive interoperability among QR-based payment products of different networks. UPI 2.0 enabled newer features to enhance customer and merchant experience with overdraft facility, one-time mandate, invoice in the inbox, and signed intent and QR. RuPay launched the RuPay contactless debit card under NCMC program at Delhi Metro, enabling customers to use the RuPay contactless card for transit payments and for retail purchases as well. Upgraded BHIM 2.0 includes a donation gateway, increased transaction limits, linking multiple bank accounts, offers from merchants applying in IPO and gifting money. 5. AI virtual assistant available round the clock, helping customers with accurate information in English and Hindi via text or voice on the website of NPCI, RuPay and UPI Chalega. And rewards in the largest multi-brand loyalty platform to engage and retain bank customers by easy earning and instant redemption of reward points on maximum purchasing options. NPCI International is building acceptance network for RuPay and UPI abroad. This will help Indian travelers pay with these payment channels in the country of travel. NPCI has built one-of-a-kind, world-class payment ecosystem that is affordable and accessible for every customer segment and every payment need. We believe in building products for every Indian. NPCI has its products designed for each segment. NPCI recently registered in Limca Book of Records for conducting the 120 e-payment literacy camps on the World Literacy Day. NPCI's RuPay won the Scotch Award for Financial Inclusion. NPCI won the Policy Change Agent of the Year Award by Economic Times. NPCI's UPI won the Golden Peacock Innovative Product Awards for Business Excellence and Innovation. And NPCI's BHIM UPI and RuPay won the AFAC's Busiest Brands Award under the banking category. NPCI is paving the way towards a less cash society by providing secure, instant, convenient and affordable payment solutions for all Indians.
Thank you. So, as I said, while I started this conversation, this presentation, that I'll use my mobile phone whenever I am here in UAE. That's the ease that we want to bring into our citizens to make payments across the globe. That's the initiative, that's the objective we want across the globe, that it should be connected through a e-payment kind of digital economy. So that's where we are taking forward our initiatives. That's where NPCI International was formed. We were formed in 2020. Firstly, focusing upon how ease of payment can be made across the globe, whereas we have achieved a lot in India itself, but across the globe is something that we focused upon. The second part, what we wanted to focus upon, was how we can take the whole solution to these countries, specifically Africa, because now that we see there is a lot of potential in Africa, that's where we want to focus upon. That's where we want to take a step ahead and make sure that even Africa, once we collaborate with them, we can actually create this payment ecosystem like how India has progressed. The similar can be done in Africa too. So that's where we are presenting this on this podium, saying that we are open for collaboration with all the African countries, with all the African central banks which are present. We are keeping in mind that, okay, there are a lot of challenges. Yes, there will be. But what we do is take a collaborative approach, bring interoperability into your systems, and include every partner who's already existing in your country. So when I say all partners, it can be your MNOs like wallet providers, it can be all your banks. Every member will be a part of this ecosystem. So that's where our focus is right now. That's where we say that India to the world for digital public good. That's where our whole agenda is lying upon. We want to take this technology over and across the globe right now. So as you can, I'm sure you seeing that video, you might have realized there's a lot of terms coming on, be it UPI, be it RuPay. So what are these two products? What are these two major products that actually has created success, India story, which is a successful story, and it's an eye opener for the whole world. Next slide. So our key offerings, these are part of, these are just the two parts of offerings that we are showcasing. The whole offerings are there for collaboration, but yes, the two major offerings that we feel are a part of creating a whole huge ecosystem, a digital national ecosystem, is where these two parts are very important. What is UPI? I'll show you a single video what UPI is about, how we have changed the ecosystem, how easy it is to actually transact. As Sir said, thank you, payment successful. That's how we are going to do it.
Welcome to the world of Unified Payments Interface. A world where all your payments are unified and simplified. Be it paying your utility bills, college fees, house rent, or even asking for payments. With UPI, everything is easy and instant and is available 24/7 and 365 days. What's more, UPI comes bundled with all its participating bank apps that gives you freedom to choose the best UPI app. So what is UPI? Is it like an online account or is it like instant payment system? Well, we'd say it's the best of both worlds. UPI links your bank account to an UPI ID. Think of it like your super cool banking pet name, which means you don't have to remember account holder name, long account numbers, or routing ID. Simply pick a cool UPI ID and get ready for a cool way to bank. So, what's so unique and special about UPI? Let's start with sending money. With UPI, you can just send money to anyone with an UPI ID in just a single click. You can collect money too. That means UPI not only lets you make payments, but also ask for payments by just using UPI ID. Merchants can use this feature too. They can use UPI to ask for bills you have scheduled to pay. And as far as your convenience is concerned, UPI also allows you to share your bills. Lastly, we can also pay using the QR code. Now you can make your purchases by scanning a QR code at shops, restaurants, petrol pump, etc. through UPI. How secure is it? It's single-click, two-factor authentication, which uses UPI PIN and mobile SIM to all UPI transactions, as secure and trustworthy as your bank transactions. So what are you waiting for? Download your banking app right now. Pick your unique UPI ID and make all your payments unified and simplified, and help your grocery shop or transportation to have its own UPI ID to do seamless transactions. Unified Payments Interface, powered by NPCI.
So this, in simple words, we wanted to present how UPI works, how the security factor is something that we have taken care of, what are the whole features behind running it. So what are the pillars actually supporting this whole ecosystem of UPI? This is where our vision was, how we can create a UPI, which is an interoperable system. When I say interoperable, we wanted to displace cash. We wanted to actually see to it that the consumer who's there, he won't use his currency, like a wallet, because using a wallet, taking a currency, if there is no exchange, change there, then there is an issue. That's where we came into picture, where UPI was successful in giving the exact amount to the particular merchant or the person that you want to pay to. So we analyzed it, where an interoperable system which we created to create a wallet-based, it included your wallets, it included your other payment mechanisms, it included all your participants who can contribute to the urban population.
So basically, just to add, just to give an example, when we went through the demonetization phase, okay, we had this UPI in place, okay, even though you had that cash crunch at that time. We had this UPI apps which could easily scan the QR codes. I could send the money. Okay, so people were basically not dependent on cash. Basically, what it led to the growth of UPI, and people were basically having that belief that yes, you can survive even without the fiat currencies, and you can actually use your mobile, the mobile as a base to make various payments. Let it be a bill payment, or I'm making a payment to the merchants, or I'm making any transfer to anyone. So that's the way UPI has been built, and we can easily say that the cash has been reduced to a lot of extent. When we say about merchant payments or bill payments, people earlier used to stand in queues for making payments of bills, let it be electricity or any other bills. Okay, now all these payments are done at a single click. That's how easy it is.
Thank you, Vijay. Then on the part where running on aliases. So when I say running on aliases, as you saw, the UPI ID that was created, it can be anything. So your bank account, suppose you have a bank account with HSBC, you can write it, you can create a UPI ID as Michael Jackson at, suppose say HSBC Bank. So that's your UPI ID that is unique to you. And through that medium, you can actually make payments. That's the security that we bring in as being you as a unique reference for you. Basis that there are two-factor authentication also, which we said in the video, where one was through a UPI pin that you have to create, which is handled by us as a common library, which we handle it. And later part is on this mobile SIM, which actually while registering your UPI ID, there are a lot of processes which goes in where your device ID and your SIM, all your mobile number are also registered. Because it comes in a process where creating a bank account, we require these details, but for Africa, it will be different. For suppose I say for Uganda, there will be a process where you say you open your bank account through a national ID itself. So the process can be tweaked here in UPI also. So that's where flexibility, efficiency is something that we bring into picture, and security. The third part, that is the instant fund transfer. We are uptime, 99.9% is the uptime that we actually work upon. We have a strong dispute resolution kind of management system, which actually involves your whole 365 days, 7 days a week, 24/7. It's available every time. Like you don't need to actually look at saying that, okay, UPI won't work at 12 o'clock at night. UPI works at 3 o'clock in the night also. So there have been instances where you come by a cab at night and you don't have currencies. I mean, you are stuck because there are ATMs, suppose they are shut. But using UPI, you can actually make transfers to that cab driver if you're coming at 3 o'clock at the night. So that's where we have actually progressed ourselves. That's where we have brought this vision of making ease of payment into this country. And this is something that we want to collaborate and bring into other countries too.
So just to add it, we provide various form factors as well. Means you can pay, as Sabin said, you can pay through a UPI ID, which is a LIS, or either I can scan the QR of that particular cab driver and make a payment. So you have various form factors that are available, and that's the ease that UPI provides to all.
The other part which is very important is the integration with the multiple service channels. So this is where all your electronic services, suppose you have a payment ecosystem where ATM is very widely used right now, and suppose you forget, I'll give you an example where what we are doing right now. Suppose there's an ATM, you can through your UPI ID actually take cash out from the ATM using your UPI ID. So this is the ease that we are bringing because you have not carried your debit card. This is in process, this will be in rollout, but this is something that we are trying to create. On the POS terminal, suppose you have an Android POS and it gives you a dynamic QR, you can scan that QR and make payments for UPI ID, through your UPI ID I mean. So that is something, that seamless connection that we have created through every switch, which actually brings in the UPI ID as a strong base for making payments. So we have connected to all these channels right now.
So just to go ahead, as Sabin said, it's a collaborative approach that we are following. Okay, so we are basically we have developed a format, or you say a open platform, which engages all the participants. Let it be an unorganized merchant. Okay, so if it's a general shop, he cannot afford that the cost of keeping a mobile machine. So what he can do, he can simply place a QR code, which is very conveniently, which can be printed down, and he can start accepting that digital channel. So it's basically the ease and the collaborative approach that we are following, and that allows us to engage all the participants, let it be a fintech, or it be a mobile network operators, or a bank, or the end customer. So just to give an example, in the rural areas where people are using feature phones, we can use this UPI rail even to make payments through a normal feature phone. Okay, so that's the ease that we provide, and that's the collaborative approach that we are following.
So I'll give you an example just for statistics. When we started, the smartphone users were only 17%. Now we are at 50% of smartphone penetration that we have actually right now in India. Only in India itself. You'll be shocked with the numbers of 50% penetration, through 50% of penetration, what kind of numbers that we have done. And these numbers which we'll probably showcase is basically including all the feature phones also. So when I say feature phones, these rural market, India, 60% of the population resides in rural market. So when I say 60% resides in rural market, we had this scheme which was developed, launched by our government in 2010, where PMJDY scheme, so where bank accounts were opened for every rural India citizen out there, and through that bank account, right, we tried to communicate through UPI where they can make payment just from their feature phones. So that's where our whole power lies in. Our product called as star 99 hash, which is a part of UPI, can also be a process which can be used in the African countries, because a lot of areas in Africa, we surely know that there are feature phones through which they are actually making payments, be it using the agent banking also. So that's where we are coming in and giving you a strong base of interoperability, because what happens is when an MNO comes in that feature phone, it's a closed loop which actually forms. So if I am a MTN player, I can only transfer to an MTN player where the transaction cost is minimal. But if I want to give it to Airtel Money, the transaction cost actually shoots up. So this is where we bring in the standardization. This is where we bring in the interoperability, where while making payment, it will be easier for you to bring down the cost. So that's where we are standing, where we are bringing the affordable cost system, where we are bringing the whole ease of displacing cash and the collaborative approach. We are including every partner possible in that country.
Further, what we do is we have a proper classification of our APIs. So we have those non-financial APIs where basically a customer can do a check whether the person to whom he is sending the money is correct or not. He can do various other identification, and then we have those financial APIs, which is basically used for transfer of money after the two-factor authentication. Now this proper bifurcation of APIs basically helps us to maintain, as well as helps the MNOs as well as the fintechs to have various use cases.
Yeah, there are numerous use cases. We will probably walk you through those use cases. That will give you an idea also like what kind of use cases are there right now in India and how we are progressing towards these use cases also. This slide actually shows the whole collaborative approach that we are bringing in, how UPI is a catalyst of changing the whole ecosystem in India. So when I say catalyst, we actually focus upon the digital public good. As I said, NPCI is a non-profit organization. NPCI International was formed to take these products globally. So we right now have more than 304 banks live along with us, who actually operate only on UPI itself. Along with them, there are API providers called maybe Amazon Pay, maybe Google Pay. There's WhatsApp Pay who has come in recently and onboarded UPI, like they're onboarding their 500 million base of customers on UPI. So I probably can show you one-to-one like how WhatsApp is actually using UPI to make payments. So there's a rupee sign which comes while making payments in your WhatsApp itself. That there have been workshops that we have created where people are shocked to see that, okay, WhatsApp is bringing in UPI. You can imagine the consumers that can come onto your platform right now. The transactions they can do only through WhatsApp. And WhatsApp being there, they are committing right now almost 300 million users. So 500 million users are already there on their platform. They're committing 300 million users on UPI. So this is something that they are connecting from their end. This is something that we bring in along with our platform to the world. So if we are going to any country right now, collaborating with them, these partners are supporting us and coming along with us. So that's where our whole advantage comes in. That's where NPCI International brings in this kind of collaborative approach along with these API providers, because they know the system well, they know how it operates, they know how they can tweak and actually come into the market. So that JTM strategy actually is along with us only. So that's where they actually focus upon how we can actually grow the system.
Just to add, so if you see the international schemes which are present in the market, as on that they have around 60 million plus merchants, whereas on UPI we have around 152 plus million merchants. That's the scale at which we operate. All this has been possible due to the ease that we provide, the onboarding ease, due to which even the unorganized merchants can start using the UPI. So that's the.
Just to give you an example, in 2016, there were total around 60 million merchants. Only 60 million merchants were there on the digital payment ecosystem platform of RBI. From 2016, we launched UPI. Till 2022, we are standing at 152 million merchants only on UPI. This is purely UPI. This is the exponential. This is the number that we are actually dealing with right now. I can give you an example of consumers also. There are 252 million consumers, the users who are using UPI right now. This is 1.4 billion led population of a country right now, India being there. This is not even 1/4 of the population using UPI right now. So you can imagine what kind of scale, flexibility that we bring in to handle these kinds of transactions. So those kinds of flexibility, the ease that we bring, I'll show you in the next slide. So we have processed in last month more than 4.52 billion transactions. This is only the transactions we have processed in last month. And it valued of commerce more than 110 billion transactions. Just for the month of February, I'm saying. And that is from the base of 252 million users. That is not even 1/4 of the population of India, and that's what we are bringing onto the table. We started slow. We started very slow. In 2016 we started. In 2019 we reached our first target milestone of 1 billion transactions. In 2020 October we reached the milestone of 2 billion transactions per month. This is not per year, this is per month. So when I say per month, we crossed in 2021 3 billion transactions, and these transactions rose in that 6 months to a 4 billion kind of transaction. Where, yes, the COVID coming in, there are other factors also coming in like COVID, contactless payments. Yes, people started adopting it. But this is where we got the boost. This is where our graphs is keeping on growing right now every month on month. This is every month on month basis transaction that I'm showing you right now. This is something we have brought onto the table. Then moving ahead, we'll show you how UPI has contributed to the economy. So when I say, yeah, okay, UPI is doing these kinds of transactions, yes. But what is it benefiting the government? What is it benefiting to the central bank? How you're doing it? I mean, what is it? What is the reason? I mean, yes, you're showing the numbers, but how does it actually grow the economy? That's where we are coming in. So you can imagine on this graph, if you can see, we started with 8 billion kind of commerce. In 2021, we did 940 billion worth of commerce. 39 billion transactions we have processed in that particular year in 2021. And in 2021, we have actually done 940 billion worth of transactions. The commerce. So this actually contributed to the 33% of your India's GDP. So we are a part of the whole digital ecosystem of India. We actually have contributed to the India journey. So India's 33% of the GDP we have contributed as a partner to the digital economy. And if you can see the donut over there, that donut contributes, actually shows where UPI to the other payment players, be it foreign partners who are there, compared to them, what kind of transactions we have done. So we are actually standing at 58% of the transaction, which we have done only on UPI, and only 42% of the transactions have happened through different means, be it cards, be it ATMs, and other parts. So in the previous slide, when I said we did 4.52 billion of 4.52 billion transactions for that month of February. That was for financial transactions. Similar to that, non-financial transactions also are more than 5 billion transactions. So you can imagine 10 billion transactions happening on a particular system, where non-financial and financial happening on a particular system. What's the kind of load that will be coming on the platform itself? So we have that capacity. When I say we have that capacity, we can process easily 1 billion transactions a day. That is 30 billion transactions a month. We are uptime 99.9%. We have settlements which we do almost 6 times a day. So that actually helps in creating liquidity to the banks also. In turn, actually helping them move funds easily in the banks for making payments. So that's where UPI has grown. That's where we have grown as an entity, to showcase you that, okay, we have something as a solution, as a real-time solution, which can contributes to the economy also. Next slide, please. So this slide will be taken by Vijay. This is something on the part where how UPI works, the architecture. One second.
Yeah, thanks, Seven. So just to keep it simple, as you can see, it's basically a multi-party model. So when I say it's multi-party, that you can involve multiple stakeholders. For example, if I want to transfer money to Savin, okay, so me as a payer, I don't need to have an app which is basically linked to my own bank account. So if I'm doing a banking from bank A, I like the app of bank B. I can use that bank B app, link my account, okay, and do payment to Savin. So when I say in this model, I am the beneficiary, okay. So as a beneficiary, I can have a beneficiary PSP, that is Payment Service Provider app, which can be any app. It can be Google, it can be WhatsApp, or any app. I can get my beneficiary bank onboarded on that app. I can start using WhatsApp or anything. Similarly, at Savin's end, when he is receiving a payment, he doesn't need to have a single bank account and a single app. There too, if he is having a bank in HDFC or say Bank A or any bank, he can use WhatsApp and Google. So as a beneficiary, he can have multiple bank accounts, he can have multiple payment apps, and me as a remitter, I can have multiple payment apps as well as multiple bank accounts as well. So I can link, if I am having accounts in various banks, I can basically choose from the app which account I need to use. So that's the flexibility that is already available in this app.
So just to give you an example, suppose Vijay has a bank account with HSBC and I have a bank account with Citibank, and we both have a Citibank app. I have my Citibank app and he has this HSBC Bank app. But we don't like the app UI or UX because there's no offers or anything which is provided by these bank apps. So I say, okay, I go to Google Pay and Vijay goes to WhatsApp Pay. So I can make payment directly to Vijay through my Google Pay app, which is linked to my Citibank account, and make payment to Vijay on his WhatsApp Pay account, where it is linked to the HSBC bank account, where he will receive money on his HSBC bank account and I will send money from my Citibank account. But it is linked through the payment service providers called Google Pay or WhatsApp Pay. So we are the link connecting these Play Store apps, any apps which are coming in, and connecting them to the bank account, so that we sit in between and actually help them make payments. So that's where we lie. That's where our importance comes into picture, because we bring in the security, we bring in the interoperability, we bring in all possible ways to make payments and resolve any disputes which come up.
Thanks, Seven. Just to add in, okay, the way UPI is built in is we have a decoupled architecture. When I say decoupled, is basically the online, and there is an online channel or the online switch which does the online transactions, settles the transaction and provides an instant credit to the beneficiary and the instant debit to the remitter. Apart from that, we have our own clearing and settlement, that is a back office system that clears the transaction between the banking participants, and it clears it multiple times in a day. So what it does is it reduces the liquidity risk. So the system is so much capable that as on date, we do multiple settlements in a day, and we are basically in such a state that we can do a settlement every 15 minutes. So that's the risk reduction that we intend to do in our systems. And if I can tell it in such a way that if you have this online channel, you want to have UPI, but you don't want to use the existing back office, you can settle those transactions in your existing clearing system that you have. So that's the ease that we provide, so that the front end basically can be easily integrated with your back office system or the clearing and settlement mechanism of that particular country. Further, other than the bank app, we also have something known as Beam. So this is an app which NPCI has developed by itself, because other than the major players that Savin showed some time back, we have our smaller sector banks. We have around thousands of banks basically which are not so big, but we need to include them. For such players, they get into a sponsorship model with our major banks, and they can use such apps where they don't want to invest on their own technology, their own resources. They can start using this app, and their customers can easily transact through this app. So as I said, we do multiple clearings. So we also adopt and comply with the international risk management standards. So there are strict compliances we follow. We have our net debit caps or net credit caps, which basically ensures that for a given participant, he does not offshore the overall risk appetite he has. So in our online system, we keep a risk limit. What is the maximum number of transactions that should be allowed? Secondly, what we do is we do multiple settlement a day, and we have a settlement guarantee mechanism in place, which ensures that there is a settlement finality and there is no risk of failures. So these all things basically ensures that the settlement finality is taken care. Even once the online transaction happens, you need to have a settlement between all the banks, right? So that is something basically ensured by having multiple settlements throughout the day. And we have our own AI-based risk-based management systems that takes care of the liquidity and the credit risk. Further, we also, as Savin has already said, we have this two-factor authentication, which ensures that customer security is not compromised at any point of time.
So basically what Vijay is saying through this slide is, suppose you have an existing system in place and you don't want to alter with that, right? I mean, we can actually come in and are flexible enough to actually integrate with your existing system and create a system over and above it. Suppose you don't want our back office system, we can actually work upon it where you keep your back office system. We can create the front end layer of UPI and actually connect to the whole ecosystem. And on the other part of what he showed on the fraud risk, the security mechanism, the principles that we are using, that's where we have actually grown ourselves on the part where we have very strong FRM system, that is the fraud risk management system, because we have our own dispute resolution system which actually clears your disputes within the 24-hour kind of cycle. So that's the level of trust that the consumers have on us because of the system that we have created, and what actually it has helped in the benefits of actually giving what UPI has given to the world. So beneficially, actually there are 4 stakeholders who come into picture: the government, the central bank, the consumers, and the fintech and merchants who are there. So basically these are the 4 areas who actually focus upon, see that okay, there are benefits of bringing in a UPI like solution or a real-time solution into the ecosystem. It's the process is slow, yes, but it will gradually have that kind of impact over and above the long years that you actually contribute to. So when I say on the benefit side, consumers, yes, because they think, okay, my money is secure, my money is in the bank account, I can use that bank account money and actually do the transactions. That's where we bring that kind of security. The merchants are happy because merchants, they don't need to keep changes, they have to pay extra for keeping changes, they have to actually be stuck with the money that actually comes in. Sometimes people don't pay up upfront. So that's where merchants are happy that okay, you have a QR code, you can make payments directly. You don't have to actually wait for the money to come in. So that will actually go into your bank account directly. And the government supporting those merchants, the government supporting those consumers, saying that okay, you actually start with transacting through UPI, That's where our whole exponential growth comes in. For banks, it is their innovation and capability to actually help integrate all utility bill payments, all kinds of payments into the system. So that's where banks are also happy to actually come in and actually help us out to, okay, we can do these things, we can make the bill payments, we can make these kinds of transactions. Customer are coming on board and seeing, okay, these are the facilities that a bank is providing. UPI being only one part, and other parts are also can be seen through a UPI kind of solution. So that's where banks are also happy. The fintechs who are happy because they can actually innovate. They come to us saying that, okay, this is the innovation which can happen through UPI. As I said in the start of the presentation, it's a collaborative approach. It's a collaboration where all stakeholders of the parties are involved in making a digital ecosystem this strong. So that's where we want to collaborate along with African countries. We want to collaborate globally also, where every participant country which comes to us, we can analyze, we can work along with them, we can create those analysis, we can collaborate, and we can give these solutions which we have handy, where we have gone through the struggle, but we don't want you to go through that kind of pain which we have taken, because we have something which is ready with us, which we can contribute to the world, which we can actually collaborate along with. So that's where our whole presentation was about. The next part is some use cases. A small use case where different schemes can be involved in the UPI also. So firstly being your national ID based kind of payment. So Aadhaar being our national ID, we can actually make payments through a national ID based kind of payments. So through Aadhaar, what happens is you can make payments directly from national ID to national ID, or you can make payments from a national ID to a bank account. So this is something as seamless that we have brought in, because what happens, below poverty line kind of citizens who are there, who does not know how they can transact using a bank account, where they have to actually walk through to the banks and actually come back. That's where Aadhaar kind of payment, where agent banking kind of mechanism can be used, and we try to make a payment through using their biometrics, or maybe probably a iris scan. So this is something that we are using for a national ID based kind of payment. The other part is something which was launched recently, e-rupee. E-rupee is a digital voucher which we are providing in situations or crisis like COVID. So that's where you wanted to reach out to these end consumers. I'll give you an example. Namibia, I still remember, Namibia actually provided $750 worth of currency to their citizens who wanted to take vaccines. When you're actually giving that kind of amount and analyzing those citizens, when you're giving that kind of amount to that citizens directly, you're not sure that amount has been used for the right purpose. That's where e-rupee comes in, where e-rupee is a digital voucher which can be used for vaccinations, for corporate giftings, corporate fundings, anything you can use as through a e-rupee kind of mechanism. But it was launched as a vaccination kind of mechanism, where a citizen has been analyzed, okay, they come below the poverty line, they need to be given a vaccination. So what happens is we create a digital voucher, we give it to the citizen goes to the merchant, so say any hospital or a vaccination center. There they show the QR code of the e-rupee voucher that they've got. They get the vaccination and the merchant gets paid.
So it's basically purpose specific. So if someone wants to try to use that voucher for some shopping or for some food items, he can't use it. So that's one of the use case that has been brought in through UPI.
Because this brings in transparency. This actually eradicates all the middlemen who are coming in and actually making it difficult for making these kinds of ease of payments. That's where we come in, bringing these transparency, the security, the ease. Next slide, please. So there are a lot of use cases that we want to show you. So UPI can be used as a mandate system also. So you can use it as a standing instructions giving from a bank account, which can block your amount for that particular instance. It can be used as a recurring payment also. So suppose you are using Netflix or maybe Amazon, you want to make payments month on month basis, you have to just set a UPI ID, give a standing instruction saying that on this month I want the amount to be deducted. that can be also done through an OTT kind of platform. And QR based payment, so you can actually do a collect request also. So suppose I say I want money from Vijay, but Vijay is not paying me, and I'm still stuck wondering when will Vijay pay me. So I can give him a request of collect saying that, okay Vijay, you owe me 1,000 rupees. I send him a request, then Vijay sees it and okay, he says okay, I can make the payment, and he makes the payment. So what happens is there is the amount which I've sent him, so there is no correction that needs to be made on Vijay's end. Possibly Vijay might send me 900 rupees, and I will be disappointed saying that okay, I have not received the remaining 100 rupees which was there. So that's where the collect request was playing a very important role. A dynamic QR can be included. What amazing thing that we have done is we have actually included all our unorganized merchants also. When I say unorganized merchants, these merchants are the vegetable vendors, the sandwich stall owners. They can be probably on the street selling anything. In India, if you come, even the beggar has a QR code. So that's something that we have that kind of use cases. So that's where ease of payments is something that we are bringing in. So that's where what we want to bring it to the world to. So this is some use cases which Vijay will handle. Please, Vijay.
So basically, when we in this use cases, when we are making payment on e-commerce websites, okay, so I select a certain, I like something, a watch on Amazon. So I select that watch, go to my cart, and when I making a payment, I get a various option. As you can see, there is an Paytm option which has been shown here. So I use that option. I input my UPI ID. As soon as I input the UPI ID, I basically get an intimation on my mobile payment or the mobile app which I have. I input my PIN and the transaction goes through. The other option which you can see is I also get a QR code option wherein I scan the QR code through the same app, input the PIN, and again the payment has been done to the merchant. The next case is basically on the in-app payments. So we also have an integration with various apps. So if there are certain merchant apps like MACD or for that example Starbucks, I select whatever I want to have at that particular point of time, and then that app gives me an option to make a payment. So when I go ahead, basically I can do a payment through that app itself by scanning the QR code, or there is also an option through inputting the UPI ID and making the payment, and the confirmation directly comes on that app itself. So that is an integration through a merchant.
So this in-app example I can give you is now if you go to a restaurant and you scan their menu right now, okay, and it happens so that okay, you put on you actually input saying that I like burgers or pizza or anything, and while checking out you say okay, I'll check out and make the payment. While making the payment, this is something that we have integrated in the UPI kind of solution also. So UPI is one of the mediums to make payments, is something that we have created in-app also. So Starbucks, they actually run their promotions a lot of giving you cashbacks that okay, you have a coffee right now, buy a coffee for so say a tall coffee, and next time we'll probably give you an upgrade or probably a free coffee next time. So that's where people are interested in using the in-app solutions. And UPI being there, you can make payments directly through it. So you don't have to go back and maybe use a card or any other solutions. Directly make payments through UPI.
So the next option is just what Savin said some time back. Basically, it's a cash on delivery. So by that, we don't mean that the cash needs to pay. I place an order on certain app. When the delivery comes in, the QR code is basically embedded on the cover or any covering which is there. I can easily scan the QR code on there and make the payment on the spot. Okay, so it's basically on the as when we say cash on delivery, we mean that you can instantly make that payment too. So you make an order and make a payment when you actually receive the goods.
So UPI on delivery basically. So you have that QR which is attached to your goods that you are actually delivering. You scan that QR and you can make payments. So this is something which is an innovative approach that we are taken in.
The next case is basically on mandate based recurring payments. So What we say is when you are doing a shopping, so if you are buying something costly luxury items or anything, and you don't want to make a one-time payment, what you can do is you can use this payment mandate option. What it does is it creates an EMI for a particular given month, and you authorize that transaction by way of PIN. So that's it, you are done. Then once that mandate is collected, a monthly payment deduction is done. So you don't need to bear a burden of making a one-time payment. You can, for this example, let's say it's 8,000 bucks. You can do a EMI of 377. That's easy on your pocket, as well as the authorization also is to be done one time. You don't need to go every time, every month and input the PIN.
So I'm sure you guys might be paying through EMIs, but what happens is the standing instruction is not decided by you at times. At times it happens so that the standing instruction that you're given to, he only writes a date and actually sends it off. So that's where UPI through mandate, recurring based kind of payment is something that we have created, where you give the standing instruction that my salary gets credited on this date, I want to make the payments for my EMI on this date. So this is something that you can create. You can actually authorize, you can actually cancel the EMI based options also. So everything has been taken care of while making a recurring kind of payments.
This is basically the e-rupee prepaid voucher, which Savin actually discussed some time back. So basically what it does is, it's a purpose specific. So as Savin gave you an example of COVID cases. So any corporate can use it for a purpose specific, be it be hospital, pharmacy, or it could be a CSR initiative. So the corporates can basically create the purpose with us. The QR code is generated, and whenever you need to use that QR for that specific purpose, the only thing you need to do is you need to show that QR. The merchant or the other party or the entity needs to scan that QR, and the payment is done. So this is what the transparency that brings in. So you can be rest assured that if you are giving a money for a particular purpose, it's used for that purpose itself, and that is not basically diverted for any other thing.
So major corporates also give out bonuses to their employees also. So you can identify your employees, take their UPI IDs, give them a gift voucher. They can use that gift voucher in this particular merchants only. So they can go there, use these vouchers. So this is where clear transparency kind of payments is something that we are bringing in. This is the most important use case which we wanted to showcase, a feature phone based kind of payment, very robust USSD channel that we have created along with the telecom operators also. So this is something where you can send money, you can request money, you can actually see your pending requests which are there. So suppose Vijay has requested money from me and I'm not paid it yet. I can see those pending requests also through my feature phones. The transactions can be seen. You can set your own UPI pin again. I mean, you want to change the UPI pin, you can do it through a feature phone also. So this is the ease that we are actually bringing in. Vijay. Ek minute. Vijay. So through UPI pin, so suppose you want to make a transfer from UPI. So you say, okay, I click on send money and I go into the next the pop-up which comes in, say in my feature phone saying that, okay, enter your UPI ID. So I enter the UPI ID to whom I want to send the money to. So say suppose Maria @ABC Bank. So can be Citibank or any bank that she's using, and I can enter the amount later and make the payment putting my UPI pin. So it's that easy to make a payment through a USSD based channel where a telecom operator is actually integrated with our solution and we can make the payments. So all your MNOs who are out there right now, I'm sure there are MNO specific infrastructure that they have created. But what we have created is over and above those MNOs infrastructure where all the telecom operators actually integrate to UPI solution. So that's where UPI actually connects to these telephone operators, and there is no pilferage of the cost being high, the transaction going high, for each of the telecom operators, because we have standardized it. That's where our importance comes into picture. these are some of the accolades that we have done over the year. We have received from over the years. So we have received accolades from the World Bank, from Facebook, from Google, from financial technology, Financial Times also, the famous newspapers. So they actually appreciate what kind of infrastructure and ease that we are bringing into UPI in India itself. And this is something that we want to take global. Yes, we want the process to actually happen in other countries too. So this was about UPI. One key product that we have, which we feel is important. The other part is RuPay. RuPay being our India's card scheme. So it's our card scheme, and this is something you can also integrate. Suppose you want in your country to be a domestic card scheme to you want to create, is something that we can actually do it in lines with you too. So suppose being a RuPay card holder, you can actually make, I'm sure there will be a lot of international partners right now, foreign partners who are there present in your country, who are actually doing the card schemes and other parts. So you can create your own card schemes also in your particular country too. So this is something that we have created through RuPay, and through RuPay we have reached out to almost every second Indian has a RuPay card. So right now there are 650 million users on RuPay itself, so it's almost half the population who owns a RuPay card at least, and something that been issued by 100 banks, 1000 banks. When I say 1000 banks, there are huge banks also who are issuing RuPay cards, and your small finance kind of banks who are operating at $100,000 kind of dollar of capital. So those kinds of banks are also issuing RuPay cards right now. We have almost 61 to 62% of market share right now in India itself, and we play a very, very crucial role in creating the inclusivity of the citizens of India. So when I said the PMJDY scheme, the Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana, which was created for every rural citizen having their own bank accounts, that's where we saw to it that okay, even RuPay can be a card which can be issued in this rural India also. So that's where our major focus was. Even in rural India, RuPay cards are being issued at a very large scale. We have a very wide coverage, as I said, in rural also as well as in urban areas for the RuPay cards. And yes, we have a mission to reach 1 billion people, 1 billion cards to be issued in India itself. It will be soon a success. Yes, there are various use cases. I'm sure there are cases where you want NFC enabled kind of payment transaction through your RuPay card or your cards. You can create a tokenization kind of payment, a tap and go, a contactless based payments. Everything is a part of RuPay solution right now.
So why we had the blessings of a central bank for this RuPay was basically the international card scheme which used to operate. They used to charge us in dollars for a certification. The fees used to be charged in dollars, and the high amount of certification could not be afforded by the smaller banks. Means the cards were restricted to few banks. With RuPay coming in, we basically created a sponsorship models for the smaller banks wherein they were able to issue cards. The rural segments were able to use the cards. So that's something we want to highlight here.
This slides actually on the front where the areas we want to collaborate upon, the areas we feel the nations, African nations, can also contribute and actually come forward and collaborate along with us. These are the things which we feel can actually be a part of our collaboration journey, where we can contribute along with you and actually create a robust system, a digital economy along with you guys. So firstly, UPI like deployment. So the UPI solution that we have, as we explained, we can integrate along with your existing solutions also. So this is something that we have right now, and we want to take this to the world too. So UPI like solution for the particular country that is interested and can take this discussion forward upon. a rupee kind of solution, rupee kind of a domestic scheme card that you want to create for your country. So suppose a domestic scheme card that you want to create and can be taken globally. Also, a card scheme can also be a part of collaboration that we can look at. We can create cross-border remittances too. Right now, we are doing remittances with a particular
We are working on it, when we would soon be having this remittance arrangement with Pay Now BCS, which is an initiative of from our central bank RBI and MAS from Singapore.
So these are arrangements which we are doing on the cross-border remittance pieces. We can also collaborate on areas where we can create acceptance for the Indians who are traveling to your country. So I mean, as I said when I started the meeting, I'll use my mobile phone just to make payments here in UAE. So Indian mobile phone, my money will be deducted from India, but I'm using an app which is an Indian app, and I can make payments here at a merchant. The merchant will receive his currency, the local currency, which will be in AED, but money which will be deducted will be in INR, which will be from my Indian bank account. So that's the rail that we want to create. That's the rail that we want to create acceptance for. And other products, so which we showcased in the start of the presentation, be it Beam, that is our bank agnostic starter app. So something, I can give you an example where Google launches their Google Pixel because they want to showcase their Android capabilities on that particular phone. So through UPI, we show it through our Beam app. That is the Beam app, which actually is a starter app for all our UPI based solutions. And you can use NETC, that is the National Highway Toll Program, or maybe a bill of payments also can be used for collaboration opportunities. If you feel like, okay, this is the need of our country, we can actually focus upon that and work upon it. So yeah, if there are any questions, please. Thank you for your time and patience. If there's anything you'd like to understand upon on UPI, how it works, or anything, feel free.
Okay, so just give me a second. Other side. Okay, so you talked about the. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Emmanuel Mleso, Malawi. Yeah, so you mentioned the UPI being applicable internationally, all right? Yeah, and you mentioned that I think the company was introduced in 2020, the international part, right? So I just wanted to know more about your experience, if it is working right now internationally, with regards to the risks that you have faced so far, especially in the case where we talk about issues of externalization of forex, for example, money laundering. What we noted is that with regards to such kind of platforms, especially non-bank platforms, you'd find that the risks are higher since monitoring becomes difficult. Data collection is not as easy as when you're dealing with the bank transactions. So in your experience with regards to the international transactions, what kind of risks have you faced with regards to externalization or money laundering issues? Thank you.
Yeah, so I will break that question into two parts. Okay, so when we are talking about international payments, so there are two types of payments. One is your P2M payments, where you scan and make payments to your merchants. Okay, internationally cross-border transaction. The second is the remittance space, where the transfers happens. So basically, India basically have around 84 billion payments coming in annually from internationally. So with regards to P2M, what we do is basically the customers are basically the AML KYC is done by on the bank part. Okay, so they are basically onboarded, and we have our own rules and regulations which are prescribed by RBI. So just to give an example, if I am from India going to Singapore, I can go ahead and scan a payment. Okay, now when I'm making a payment, okay, the transaction is done, but there are various types of risk, right? The risk is, first of all, whether there is an element of fraud that is happening, right, during the online payments, how that is covered. As Savin said, we have our own FRN systems that basically analyzes and provides a score to my issuing bank or the beneficiary bank, basis which he can accept or reject that transaction. So for example, some few checks like what is the geocode where the customer is and what is the geocode where the actual transaction is happening. So these are some few of the checks where through the FRM, the fraud risk management engine throws out the scores, which provides an ease to my issuer whether to approve or decline that transaction. The second risk I can say is the liquidity risk. Okay, so what if the payment is not done? So what we do is the transaction flows in such a way that I debit and secure the customer's account first, okay, and I have a arrangement with my international partners to make them a payment on T+2 or T+3 basis given the geographical differences. How do we manage that? We have agreements wherein we keep certain amount with our international partners so that they can deduct the payment out of that to make payments for their merchants. And as I showed, we have a multiple settlement cycle clearing. We debit our issuers, collect the money from them, okay, we do the currency conversion exchange and transfer the money in that particular foreign currency to our foreign partner, right? Okay. So this is with regards to PTM. Now coming to the remittance portion, okay, so we are soon starting with the remittance portion, wherein again, as you said, there are risks, there are AML features, but when I say with regards to foreign inward remittances, there are many checks and controls that the RBI has already kept in place. Okay, so what we do is basically we with the blessings of and the directions of our central banks, they are providing us various directions on to how to keep check of this money laundering, how to keep. To begin with, we are starting with a limited approach where we are keeping a tab on the amount. Okay, when the transaction comes in, the basically the party or the MNO is doing, we do their due diligence. We basically ask you scan the customers, do his AML KYC at their end. At our end, when the money comes in, we have bifurcated into our compliance and settlement banks separately. So the compliance bank which gets in this transaction does the checks basis the sanctions list, the PMF, the FATFA sanctions, the rules and regulations that are kept, and then the payment would be worked. Of course, to say that, I would be frank with you, for remittance our experience are still to come, but with regards to P2M, we are very good. So that fraud and all, it's almost in 2020 that we launched with QR, and we haven't received a single dispute till date. So thank you.
This is something that we are on fire footing right now, because we want to create something which is real time. We don't want the consumer to wait for their money to come in. I mean, so this is something that we are in process. Yes, there are agreements, there are closures which are happening, but it will happen soon. And yes, the remittance is secure and safe is something that we majorly focus upon. That's where we are known for. That's what we are known for, to keep the whole ecosystem secure and safe for the consumers.
Okay. Another one before you come in. On the areas of collaboration, there was one which I think you said the one in the middle, it says cross-border remittances to India. So it is not a two-way transaction. Like, what about remittances from India to other countries?
It's both ways. So currently we are starting with foreign inward remittances. So that's a phase one that we are targeting, and we are also working on foreign outward remittance as well.
So just to give you a number, 89 billion worth of commerce just came into India in 2020. So that's why our major focus relies on the FIR part, where the remittances are coming in, because there are a lot of remittances which are coming in right now, and we are focusing upon that, and we want to focus upon the FOR, the remittance going out from India also. But for now, the phase one is FIR, which is coming into India.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just make a comment. Peter Kambala, Malawi. I'll just make a comment on the second one, then I'll ask the question. Yeah, because you see, India would want remittances coming into India, right? But Malawi would also want remittances coming into Malawi. So you understand his questions there.
Yes.
Yeah. You just wanted you to elaborate on the collaboration that you're looking into, because already in the countries, some institutions are being established to actually do what you're doing. But when I look at the timelines, we are probably 8 or 10 years behind, and you've said that you've already gone through that trouble and you understand the risk and everything else. But then in terms of collaboration, what do you mean? Do you come in, establish that NPCI, and everyone else moves into NPCI? Or you come in, provide the software and probably the hardware and everything else, get paid and leave?
So basically, sir, we respect the country's sovereignty. As you said, our main objective is to provide a software to countries like Pavilion. We help them with the implementation, and once we are through with it, they can run it on as per their requirement. So it's a platform that we want to share it with you. You can create your own use cases, you can create your own rules and regulation, because every country has its own rules, regulations according to which they want to run. So the idea is you have a platform, you can use it. Yeah, as said that you want us to run, that is something also we can look into it. But our primary objective is to enable the countries to have a RTP system like UPI, which they can use on their own.
Yeah. So basically, what happens is we want you to be the owner. We want you to take the calls. So we will be the one supporting, advising behind, being a backup system for you guys, because we have something which we have gone through this whole process, where our standardization policies, our regulations, everything is in handy with us right now. So what we want to do is share with you, where you use a UPI-like solution, we come in as an implementation. I mean, we can help with the implementation of UPI-like solution and actually create an ecosystem what we have created in India. So that can depend upon how like Malawi is, how other countries are. So that totally depends on the demographics, the whole ecosystem, the gap analysis we do. Because for Malawi it will be something which for Uganda it will be for something different. So we'll have to look at it, but it is something that we are open with. We are very flexible upon it. The collaboration opportunities are immense. So we can do any kind of opportunities that we look at.
Yeah, just for purposes of clarity. So the RuPay, that RuPay card, the RuPay is an equivalent of Visa?
Yes.
Like that?
Yes.
Okay. So when you said it can be customized in a country, does it mean that, for example, when you come to Malawi, if you come to Malawi, that is...
We'll come, sir.
Yeah. So if you come and help us to come up with something which is customized for Malawi, we can have our own sort of Visa card.
Definitely.
Own Malawi-based domestic card, sir.
Okay, it can't work internationally.
Yes.
Yes.
It's only domestic.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So basically, when you say internationally, what we say is, if you are collaborating with us, we provide you our own RuPay specification. You can set up, you can use those specification, you can develop those cards, you can use it domestically as per your rules and regulations. And when you have a collaboration with us, wherever we have our international presence, you can run those cards through our payment rails which are already available. So that's something I would like to highlight. It won't run on Visa or MasterCard rail. It would work on RuPay rails wherever we are present. You would be able to use those cards.
Okay. So you said in a country you work with different operators. You said telecom operators, right? Yeah. So I know in some cases there are requirements that the operators are supposed to be probably submitting some data to the authorities for monitoring purposes and things like that. So when you integrate them, who reports? Is it you or the different operators who sends the data to the authorities in the case where there are requirements that they are supposed to submit some information?
So here in India right now, it does not work how it works for Africa. So in Africa, you can use your airtime and make payments through using that airtime, right? In India, using that airtime, you cannot make payments. It's a restriction which has been put by TRI and RBI together, where they're not allowed to make payments through the airtime. But what happens, they have been given license to act as a payments bank. So they are not using their airtime to make making the payments, but they're linking their bank accounts. So I can link my bank account to the payment bank of that particular telecom operator, and I can make the payments. So this is something which we have done, and they report directly back to the RBI or NPCI, the standardization procedures and regulations which is necessary.
Okay.
So as I said, sir, it's different for different country. So we'll have to sit and analyze how we can do it for each and every country. Because for you, it might be MTN and Airtel, but for some other country, it will be M-Pesa and MTN.
And the process might differ. The reporting regulations might differ from country to country, and that can definitely be worked out. That's not a challenge.
So, any more questions? Yeah.
Sir,
Thank you very much. I'm called Lawrence Michael Kecha from Uganda. One of the things that happens across, for example, I take Uganda, is the issue of the cost of money movement. Now, what is there a difference in this setup cost? No. The cost, if for example, I transfer money using this system vis-a-vis the current existing system, are there cost differences? Secondly, the African payment system under the African Continental Free Trade Area vis-a-vis this system, what's the linkage? And how do we stand to benefit? Because as I told you earlier, one of the things we have, the challenge we have in Africa is the issue of foreign currency. And we trade in we trade using foreign currency. Now, if a country does not have foreign currency, much as they want the product or service I'm offering, I cannot provide it because they have no means of making payment, no means of paying me. So the deal just flops. Then the other one is the issue of the mobile money use. Currently in my country, and I think it's something that's growing widely, the issue of the use of mobile money. You're aware of M-Pesa, you are aware of MTN mobile money, Airtel mobile money. The cost component, because personally, if I sit and I send money and I'm charged, when I sit back and I look at the cost of the charge, to a certain extent, much as it is convenient to me, but I also feel the pinch, the cost looks to be high. And therefore, I look at sometimes alternatives. How best can I send money instead of using this alternative mean? So how does this help address and cause a difference, which is convenient to me as a user? Thank you.
You can.
So I'll just start with something which will actually create a base for Vijay also. Our solution, sir, if you come to India right now, for transacting money from Savin Shetty to Vijay, it is zero. There is zero transaction cost, sir. We work as a digital public good. We are an organization which acts as a non-profit organization. So there is zero transaction cost right now. There are ways through which we can earn, yes. There are mediums through which we actually get our funding to run the show for the whole resources and other things. These are mediums which we can actually discuss with the countries also and explain them how it works also. The second part, our technology which we are using is open source, sir. So all the platforms in the world which will come to you will probably give you databases which will run into millions and billions. We run on an open source technology platform. So that's where half your cost goes down directly. You don't have to buy exponentially expensive databases or anything, because we work on an open source technology which is free of cost. And the other part, Vijay will cover it, please.
Yeah. So when you refer to the currency issue, so the UPI has support to maintain the different currencies and their rates. So once you have this UPI implementation through various regions, for example, let's say you in Uganda that's collaborated with India, okay. So we maintain that conversion in between, and we have maintained our forex partner banks. Okay, what happens is whenever those transactions are done, we ensure that those currency conversions are managed by our end, and we do the necessary currency conversions and ensure that the necessary requirements of that particular country are being met. So for example, when I transact from in Singapore, okay, it's my responsibility to ensure that the merchant there gets the exact SGD amount that my customer has been paid. So we at backend basically manage these currency conversions, and the system is capable to convert those calculations on real-time basis, so that the currency conversions are managed effectively and the transactions don't get rejected because a particular currency is not available, or it's not there. So there are certain currencies that are non-tradable. Okay, so what we do is we get those converted into a tradable currency and then get it converted into INR, or for that example it could be any currency at the back end, and then we manage that currency conversions. So we have our FX capabilities to manage that.
So what Vijay is saying is, sir, you don't have to actually move the currency from one country to another. It's basically the currency sits there, but what happens is it actually differs from what kind of transaction you want to make. So at times it happens so that the transaction currency that you're using in that particular country, it's not tradable. So what we do is that tradable currency you can convert into a USD kind of channel, and then you can transact through USD. But it's a direct rail. That money does not move to another country and from another third party country then comes to India. It directly comes from India to that country. So that's where we are bringing down the transaction cost. I'm sure Malawi will have some questions now.
All right. So NPCI International, being a non-profit organization, in the case where a country decides to get your help, are we to understand that things are going to be for free, at least in the case of you providing the service to that country? Do we expect that that country is supposed to pay you something, or your services will be provided for free to that country, being a non-profit organization?
So I'll start again. NPCI is a not-for-profit organization.
Yeah.
NPCI International is a profit organization.
Okay.
But yeah, we won't burden you with lots of money to be placed on us right now. We understand the situation. We know every country that is going through this COVID situation. So we won't burden directly with you. We will see to it that you are not burdened. We are here to make dialogues. We are here to make the situation, understand the situation, how it works, and probably come to a solution which will be helpful for both the countries. So there will not be a situation where you will fall out saying that, okay, these guys have actually burdened us with this kind of whole lot of money. Because we are bringing in solutions which are open source. We are bringing in something secure. We are bringing something that can help you grow this economy. So I'm sure, yes, so the international step was a bit late, yes, because we wanted something to be concrete in our country first. And we are moving out right now. And thank you, RISGDC, to bringing us into this stage and actually reaching out to all the African countries. So that's where we want to bring in this collaboration. That's where we want to actually collaborate and see to it that you're not burdened directly with a lot of money where you'll feel, okay, this is not something that is working out. Obviously, you'll feel these things are working out, because I'll give you a direct comparison also, where there are RFPs which are coming in, you float these RFPs and actually you're burdened with a huge cost saying that, okay, hardware will be this much, the softwares will be this much. But we see to it that all this can come down. So that's where we actually want to collaborate directly with all the African countries and actually help them out to bring down the cost of these solutions. Because in turn, you will help them, your citizens, to actually transact easily and bring down the transaction cost. That's our major motto. India, yes, India was also struggling before. Yes, there was a huge transaction cost you used to pay. I'll really not take you much back. It is 2015 only. We had wallet providers. We had transaction cost also was there. Through UPI also at the beginning we charged our citizens. It's not that we didn't. But gradually we realized that we changed our solution in such a manner that we actually didn't pass this cost to the citizens. That's where we progressed. And this is something we have ready. So we wanted to give it to the world, like, okay, this is something we want to share it with you. Let's collaborate. So we want to do that. Thank you. Payment successful with you guys.
Thank you again. You have said a lot of things, and some of us may not be gurus in the financial sector. And my request is, I think you need to give us a page or two, such that now, for example, if I go back, I need to now go to the Bankers Association and introduce this idea to them, and then create a linkage between the two of you, including my central bank, so that this discussion can be taken to another level. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Yeah, we will take those requests.
Yeah.
We have something which is ready. We have a brochure for now. You can take those brochures, show it in your country for starters, like what kind of products we are offering, and two-pager clearly stating what's the vision, what we want, can be shared with you, sir. The benefits to the whole country, how it works.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. It was really good. My question is in terms of research and innovation part of your organization. There are a lot of new learnings which are emerging out of the blockchain technology. Have they been considered in the future plan?
So yes, as you said, we have started working, and just to give you an example, we have a blockchain technology named as Vajra. So that's a back office system that basically is connected by way of nodes to each of the participants, and the system is so capable, as I said sometime back, it can do an instant settlement with all the participants. So that is where we have currently implemented blockchain, and we do intend to basically mobilize it for all our participants going ahead in the future.
Thank you. The point where I'm coming from is the part of the blockchain technology which sort of maintains a immutable record and which cannot be accessed in terms of data security. Are there anything which is being considered to learn from those technologies and improve the data security part of it?
Yeah, so that is something we have not gone to the extent, because what we do is we maintain a centralized database as on now, and each of these transactions are basically digitally signed and encrypted, not on the blockchain part that you are comparing with as of. The way we do is we digitally encrypt it, and these are stored at a centralized database which are basically secured and in encrypted form. But going ahead, there are plans, our teams are working on it, but there is a long way to go.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So I'm sure CBDC is also a part of the central bank's initiative. It will come, yes, but not that soon that we can see it over here.
Yeah.
So it is there are
It's a
plans.
work in progress.
It's a work in progress. CBDC is way ahead. So our innovation team, separate innovation team, we have separate analytics team also, who actually keeps on working on these forefronts.
So the rails are ready, but how it's to be implemented, how it's to be integrated in blockchain is something that we are working on.
Thank you. So we give.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Savin and Vijay, for such an elaborate presentation. I was in India in 2015-16 when UPI, for example, there was demonetization, and then the whole ecosystem of digital payments came up. I had to use Paytm overnight. I was a student in Pune University, and one day the Prime Minister woke up. We were told that no more money. We had to use digital currency, so we had to quickly learn. We saw the impact it had on the country. Myself, I saw it with my own eyes, how the country moved so fast to adopt it and the impact it had on the economy. And I so very passionately want it for my country. And I'm seeing already very, very positive responses. And as I work on the initiative as part of the GDC, I'm going to push it with a lot of energy to see that it goes everywhere it has to go to. Thank you so much for your presentation. And maybe I would now request the representative from Uganda to kindly, Mr. Keche, to kindly just say a few words maybe. And then I would invite Dr. Charya to come and give us the closing remarks. Thank you.
Should I say good morning, or is it now afternoon? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I was scared. Are you people present in the room? Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to stand before you here to say a word or two. First and foremost, allow me to thank the team that has organized this for inviting us to listen to this great presentation. What comes out very clearly here is the issue of technology transfer, the issue of knowledge sharing. And I think this is very important for us in the South-South cooperation. A lot of things are happening in the world, and you are all aware. There are wars happening, or there's a war happening, and it has implications on us, and how we organize ourselves to move forward is very important. COVID came in jokingly and has created a new normal, which new normal now comes in very handy with this. For us as Uganda and Pearl Africa for that matter, I think we are very excited about this. We have had collaborations with India for a very, very long time. If I look at Uganda in particular, I think we have had engagement for over, if not close to 100 years. Now, 100 years is quite a long time. We have seen a lot of things happening. Technology is developed across the world. The technology that is developed in India actually has helped us as Uganda, as Africa, to move. Now that in itself, I should say, is not an end in itself. We should not get comfortable. We actually need to do more. And doing more, this is one of the things. Now, as I said earlier, we are going back to our respective countries. And when we get back to our respective countries, we are going to convey this message to the key stakeholders. And for Uganda in particular, I am taking this to, first I'm going to take this to our Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, including my board at the Uganda National Board, Export Promotion Board. But I am also taking this to the Uganda Bankers Association, and I know all participants here will take a similar move, because the other fellas are now the technical teams that will talk a similar language with this team, and that should be able to actually take us to where we need to go. In Africa, the issue of services exports, the issue of exports in totality is something very, very key for us. One of the challenges we've been having is the issue of the cross-border payments. And I remember I was telling the board member here that we had a company which had very fantastic products, and one of the other countries actually needed those products very badly. But because the other country did not have foreign exchange, that export could not. The market was there, but just because they didn't have a foreign currency to make payments to this Ugandan company, the deal could not proceed, and that was a very huge loss to both parties. It was a loss to the other country, it was a loss to Uganda, in a much wider sense, that the company itself lost, the government lost, because if this company had made profit, government would have got income tax from this company. But because this company also was doing agro-processing, it meant that the whole value chain was affected. The farmers were affected, the local areas where these things were produced were affected. So it was a huge, huge loss. So with this development, I think a lot of things will be sorted. On that note, once again, allow me to thank the Indian team for a job well done. And this engagement, in my place we say, there are two, and I want to say it the way they say entandikwa. Entandikwa is something to start you off. But once you are started off, they also say ensindikwa, meaning that once you have been started off, you will also be pushed. So this is an entandikwa for us and an ensindikwa at the same time. So thank you very much once again. We hope to take this to the next level. This is the beginning, and we need to follow this to the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. After this presentation and after our what our Ugandan diplomat has said, we actually don't need to sum up, but there are a few points that came to my mind while I was listening, and also while the questions were being asked. As they very rightly explained, NPCI is a multifunctional organization. It's a service provider and it is also a innovator and a technology transferer. So there is a facility to work on either boot method or bot method or BT method. Build, operate, own, transfer. So they build a system for you, they operate the system for you, they own the system and then transfer it. Or they build a system, operate and transfer. Or they build a system, create capacity building in your own country, create people who can manage it and transfer. So it's just build and transfer. And as they very rightly said, the cost is only the cost of transfer of technology. So since this is cost of transfer of technology, what actually we do is create the technology in your country, create the capacity building in your country. That is exactly what the RIS is doing. RIS is there for building capacity. So building capacity is not for money. Building capacity is free. But transfer of technology has to, as you all know, I don't have to say that, has to pass through 9 stages. In these 9 stages of transfer of technology, almost 6 stages are domestic. So if I want to get state of art technology from say Japan on artificial intelligence and robotics, the first 5-6 stages are in my own country. In India, we have to create the kind of atmosphere where I can get that knowledge to my country. So I have to do that. The last 3 stages are what Japanese have to do with India as far as transfer of technology is concerned. It's the same here. So what we can do is we can study the situation in Malawi. We can say that these are the things that you have to provide. Once that is done, then it's just replicating this technology in Malawi. A. B. we have a twin model system wherein we use the local language or the English or Malawian language. It's open to you to choose the language of your choice. That is the second advantage or the third advantage. And as they explained very well, in this whole particular case, all the corporates and the individuals who are doing business, including the banks, the cost of transfer of money is 0. There is no transaction cost at all. So that is the most beautiful part of this whole system. As far as the blockchain technology is concerned, it's a very important aspect. We are, of course, as a country and as a technology service provider, we are also working on the blockchain technology. Actually, the blockchain technology is good and bad both. It's very good when you are putting it to a good use. It's very bad if you are going to, limit it only to deal with a digital currency or what they call the cryptocurrency. So we are working on it, and data mining is of, data mining, blockchain and crypto are all interconnected at some level. So we are seized of that issue. Now the government of India has introduced a data protection bill that has gone to the Parliament Select Committee. Parliament Select Committee has suggested certain changes. So instead of bringing that same bill in the same form, what we are going to do is reframe the whole bill. We have to do it as a country. We are dealing with European Union. EU has passed that bill. So any country, any vendor who wants to deal with European Union has to, that particular country has to have the data protection bill in some format or the other. So I think this is one issue which probably we may take up at some other forum, wherein Malawi can have their own data protection act. Uganda can have data protection act. We can give you the template. You can go through the template, discuss the template and then change the template according to your requirement. Or all these countries can have a common data protection provision And African Union can probably take up that issue, and African Union can have a common African Union data protection bill. So that will sort out a number of problems that the blockchain technology comes up with. So that is absolutely no issue at all. As far as seamless connectivity is concerned, we have seamless connectivity in number of countries, but there are certain areas in Africa, like in India also, where seamless connectivity could be a problem. So we are also working on a lock system, which Government of India is now working, the low orbit constellation satellites. So once about 1000 low orbit constellation satellites are launched, there will be a seamless connectivity. As far as India is concerned, the same kind of technology can be transferred to any other region also. So, but that's a very vast subject which involves outer space science. So, I am not going into those subjects because I am not an expert on that subject. One very important question you asked about was money laundering. Very strangely, this is something off the record. So, they may not agree with me. If you strictly ask me, money laundering is a very difficult business when you are dealing with hard cash and currency. But money laundering is very easy if you use this technology. But detection of money laundering is very difficult when you are using hard currency. Detection of money laundering is far more easier in this method. So you have to decide which end of money laundering you are. Anyway, thank all of you. It was a wonderful session, and I am particularly thankful to all of you for the interest that you have said. So don't worry about the payment. It will be successful. Thank you.